We've cruised overnight and woken up this morning in this beautiful place. This is the Shetland Islands and we're at the main town, Lerwick. It is so exciting. We're finally here in Scotland. Can't wait to check it out. Shetland Islands are a group of about 100 islands, with fewer than 20 of them inhabited. They're located 210 kilometres north of the Scottish mainland. The Shetland Islands landscape is wild and beautiful, with deeply indented coasts and sea locks, which are ocean inlets enclosed by steep hills and were carved thousands of years ago by glaciers moving across the mainland. The winds here can be nearly continuous and very strong, and the trees are therefore sparse, but the climate is very mild for such a high latitude, only 400 miles or 640 kilometres south of the Arctic Circle. Lerwick has a fascinating history. To learn more, I've taken the walking tour, which starts at the historic Victoria Pier.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to the Shetland Islands. And indeed, welcome to the most northerly part of the United Kingdom and indeed Scotland. Although we are in Scotland, we have only been part of Scotland for 550 years. Before that, for, about 600 years or so, we were a full part of the Norwegian Empire. When the Vikings arrived here about 1100 years ago, they named everything. And the name Lerwick is an old Scandinavian name, Lerwick, meaning a muddy or a clay bay.
Now, Jim takes the old tour at quite a pace through town. There's a lot to see and a lot to learn along the way. Like these old houses along the edge, they were houses and storage places built right on the edge of the water so that they could lower the produce down into the boats easily or take it out easily and bring it into town. The whole reason for that was this was Northern Europe's premier herring fishing port. This was the place to be. Next on the tour is the old toll booth.
This was one of the first municipal buildings built in Lerwick. Originally, there was a building here built in the 1660s. Principally, of course, the name toll booth meaning to collect taxes, of which there were a great many because there was so much trade going on here and Lerwick was expanding fast.
And we walk on to Hillhead and then stroll through the narrow lanes of this quaint town.
We're now in one of the famous lanes of Lerwick. These were typical of the places that expanded as Lerwick grew and where you found the most of the Lerwick population living. The houses were built here in Lerwick gable on to the sea, and that allowed them to build them close together and leave these narrow access ways or lanes, or to give them their old Scottish name, closes.
And then we arrive at the Up Hellyer Exhibition, which shows the influence the Vikings have had here. And that includes a lot of Viking replicas. This includes a display of the famous Fire Festival, where every last Tuesday of January, the darkened streets of Lerwick provide a spectacular backdrop to a procession of hundreds of people in a flaming torchlight march through the streets. There's one last stop, the Shetland Museum, and archives which reveal so much more about this place, its people, its heritage and culture. The museum takes you back 5,000 years and houses the skull of one of the first Shetlanders. It talks about the wealth of the land and sea with a highly prosperous fishing industry, seeing the craft of boat building evolve here. Imagine the challenges for men rowing these boats known as sixarenes out to sea for days at a time, fishing until the boat was almost full to the brim, before rowing back in an environment where weather wasn't always kind.